So please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here are Benedikt Miller, Alexander Armin, Thomas Freudenmann, and Frank Seiferth. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hi. Have a seat. Hello. Hi there.
Hi, Claus. Hello. Hi. Hi.
Geht in die Mitte.
So, enjoy the rest of the show.
Wir geht in die Mitte.
So,
how do you feel?
Great. It's fun to be here, and I hope we will have a good discussion.
super. So what I would be really interested about is to, first of all, hear from you, how does it feel when you come in such an event or such a fair? Because maybe a quick explanation to everybody in the audience. So these four guys really come from the so-called software side. So I can imagine that it's pretty exciting to enter really the industrial world or the hardware side on such a fair. So how does it feel? What came into your mind, or what was the most exciting or surprising part?
I mean, it's really great. I'm here since Monday in the MindSphere lounge. We show some use cases there as member in the MindSphere world, and on every fair, I mean, the Siemens booth is great. So, but the Hannover Fair at all, it's great to see what's happened in the industrial development, what will be possible in the future. It's really great, yeah.
So
especially on the MindSphere.
Frank is one of the most experienced developers, so we come to that later. But maybe from one of the newest partners of MindSphere, so Hackerbay, and you, what was your impression when you came to the booth? What was the first thing that you saw? And
right, yeah. Honestly, when I got in here, I was extremely impressed with how great everything looks and how digital everything is here. You know, when you're not familiar with industry and manufacturing, you expect something, but when you really learn how it is and how everything works out in the real world, you kind of are disappointed. And then when you see what's possible and the things that are in development and coming in the future, it's really impressive. And that was my first impression when I got here.
Yeah, I also I have the same feeling. So, and also, yeah, last year it was the same feeling that the Siemens guys knows to work with the machines and bring the data from the machines in the Siemens MindSphere, because they understand what the machines have, what data are important, and that you can also see on this Siemens MindSphere booth with really nice use cases. And that's also why we are a partner from Siemens, because the Siemens guys have the expertise to bring the data in an efficient way in the MindSphere.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really fun to be here at the Siemens booth, especially to talk with all the experts, all the people that already did bring to life MindSphere projects in the MindSphere booth. And there we had really good talks with a lot of other developers and a lot of great people that are working hard to bring customer value to their customers.
Cool. Klaus, shall we maybe hop on one more slide and give a quick introduction why we choose those four guys?
Yeah.
And how kind of like we ended up here on this stage.
So it's just that now we heard from you that hardware matters. We need it's IoT, it's about IoT. That means there's things in it, and we have lots of things that provide data, and you love data and love to bridge the gap between the things and the data, and therefore we need also to bridge people, the developer world and the hardware world. And I think this is one of the parts where Siemens contributes, because we know our customers, like you here with us, who are already scaling hardware business, and we love to bridge the gap. So therefore we have new formats, how to communicate with each other. This is one of the most important part. We do, for example, every month in Germany, we do a meetup. That means we have 5 minutes for each young team or also advanced team that can show the idea, and then we discuss it openly, because you need to talk to each other. That's one of the most important parts.
Absolutely. So for me, it was really impressive to see what kind of formats worked out and what we learned so far. Because it's not that we said, okay, that's the perfect plan, we go for this. So it was a lot about trying out and learning from it. And I guess.
But Annika, you have other formats. I know that you
I know.
Especially the one who did something only for those guys. We call it Developer Days. I know who was participating in Developer Days. So already two of you. And what was the plan behind it, Annika? And how did you try to approach this target group?
So it was again the same thing that we experienced. Okay, there are two worlds, and it's super beneficial for both worlds to bring them together. So last year in September, we had a 2-day Developer Days event in Berlin with a lot of developers, but also a lot of customers who joined to really bring those together and let them talk about what are my needs, what are your needs, how can we bring our worlds together? And it was actually really exciting and successful. We had 3 customer challenges, so real customer challenges from Kampf, Kautex, and EOS, German machine builders. And we started even earlier, before the event. It was about co-creation, co-ideation, really finding one specific challenge for each customer. And then at the Developer Days in Berlin, we kicked the whole thing off with a big hackathon for 48 hours. And of course, at the end of the event, we had super impressive pitches of the teams. And it was extremely exciting and beneficial for both worlds. And
yeah,
just one more success example, and yeah, we really packed a lot of stuff into these 2 days. Also gave the developers the chance to really ask their peers, because that is also very, very important for us to really get their feedback early on.
But I think we will hear from Benedikt later, because he was one of the winner teams.
Absolutely.
How it feels then to work with the customer. So our job was, and this is maybe the point of this slide, that we try to prepare our customers, try to find the right mood. It's also about finding the right people within the customers, discussing with the customers about their needs up front, and then match make. This is one of the most important parts with the developer out there. We have lots of partners already in MindSphere, but it's an open system, so we can still always work with new developers, and then we try to match make. We see, is this the best one for you? Can he help you or she? And this is, I think this is something where we start now, because we have a website, but the website is really patient. So you need to talk to each other and try to find the one who really can help you with the problem. So, and therefore we have this formats like ideation, like creation, together with the customer. And therefore we also have a great space, a new space, because developers love to work a little bit differently. And maybe one question to Hackerbay, Alex, how does it feel to work in a environment like in Berlin, in the factory Berlin, where we also have a space where we co-create with customers, but I know that you are also there. And how does it feel to work in such an environment?
Oh, that's awesome. I used to work in a lot smaller of an area before I came and joined Hackerbay, and it's really great when you get there and you see all the companies that are there, all the people that are there, and you get to work together with them. It's such a great experience. And just to continue what you were talking about earlier, hackathons, I love that Siemens does this now. That's actually how I really got started after, actually while I was still studying computer science, I attended my first couple of hackathons, and that is as a developer for me, it felt like an amazing way to reach out to developers, get them interested in your products, and I think that fits in with the whole experience that we have there in Berlin. How it really feels like it's a hackathon all the time, but you don't have the time pressure most of the time.
Amazing.
So maybe also one note from my side, it's about, normally you talk a lot about techniques or technology, about cloud systems and how it works, but I think there are some studies that more than 1,000 cloud systems under development or on the market, but I think the really advantage, that is also what you mentioned, is this ecosystem of Siemens MindSphere, that Siemens MindSphere has a really open approach in this case, so that all the partners can join. This is also why we are on the stage. And EDI itself, we also have a cloud platform, our EDI Hive, but it's really easy to integrate these two technologies together, and then we can use also our services on the Siemens MindSphere, and that is the advantage, so that Siemens in this case really have this open approach aspect.
Yeah. And all these developer days, Factory Berlin, all these things shows the change in the mindset of Siemens a little bit in case of MindSphere. From the typical industrial hardware supplier, okay, we have software, we have 20 years, more than 20 years experience in the automation and drive systems on the shop floor and so on. And this shows a little bit in case of MindSphere the change also on the mindset of Siemens to open the ecosystem. Yes, this really, for me, I know Siemens more than 20 years also as a partner, but it's another kind and really a new, really exciting kind of partnership now.
Frank, that brings me to one important point, because here we have continuous learning.
Yeah.
So we all believe that the world is changing so fast, and Annika, I know we are just launching new APIs and new stuff on MindSphere every 2 weeks. Product management is growing. We have lots of people up there who can talk about their stuff, but it's so much new stuff coming up there every day.
Yep.
And me myself, I always have to try and find the right wording. So I think this is something where we all have to learn. And also to all our customers out there, we offer trainings, of course, but working together with developers makes it so much more smoothly, because then you understand each other, you talk to each other, you learn new words like machine learning and artificial intelligence and all those things. They are there. It's not a buzzword anymore, but you just have to understand it. So continuous learning is something that is really important for me. And yeah, a question for you. How do you feel about this fast, rapid change in the world? Is it something that you easily jump in and yeah, everything is cool, or how does it feel to the need for learning new stuff? For you, for example, what do you think?
We as a startup, of course, think that disruption is the thing we need in the industry, but there's also the mindset that for the past 20 or 30 years, everything went on much slower than it does now, and it's not a sudden change, but I think companies are slowly recognizing that you have to move fast now to survive as a company.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe also one thing to this point is, yeah, there are a lot of buzzwords around Industry 4.0, artificial intelligence, and a lot of people have their own opinion on this buzzwords and their own idea how it could everything work. But at the end, I think it's not the important question is not what kind of machine learning algorithm you use. The question is that you get the solution at the end, and that's also where Siemens MindSphere helps to bring the data in a way, or prepare the data in a way that you can use it to use some algorithm like machine learning, and then that's also one of our business, that we bring in the business logic from the companies, and that is also why this partner program from Siemens makes sense, because we are from the south part of Germany, so we have a lot of small customers which are, for them it's impossible to get all the Siemens engineers in the companies to get the solution for their problems, for predictive maintenance of their machines, or for their customers some digital products. And this is why we work together with them. And we not talk about what kind of machine learning algorithms we use. We talk about how you can get money out of this new digital product. And that's also one of our topic is to make a digital business. And therefore, you also need a new business channel for these companies, and we help the companies to develop these business channels.
That's Klaus. I think what Thomas said. The software is we have a very fast development now, and that's great. But I believe all of us, the biggest challenge is at the moment to keep all the machine builders, to keep the manufacturer of components on this way. So we are quite fast now with the platforms, with software, with MindSphere, but to find the right business model, to find the use case, the business use case, this is what I believe for all of us the biggest challenge at the moment. But I think if I see from the last 3-4 months. It's going faster and faster, even on this way, to create these business models. And then the software sometimes is just a doing.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. So we are 3.5 years in the market with these topics, and so also we get the feeling from last year to this year, there's also a big step in the thinking of this typical manufacturer from tooling machines. And you have to imagine that there are some customers from us, they sell since more than 100 years machines, they are hardware products, and now we came up with this digital product, and they have no sales channels for this kind of stuff, and also no idea how I can make a marketing for this and how I can get money out of this. So that's for sure, it takes takes time, and I'm totally agree. So with our software solutions, we are really far, but we have to show how we can get money out of it.
That's why we always point out that you need the co-creation. So you need to work together on all steps of the value chain in the end. But Annika, maybe because we point out now some points how we work, but I think now everybody talked a little bit, but who is here? So maybe we have some information who's here, and to give you some more impression about what are the people here on stage. And then.
So I would be interested maybe to start right from the left, from your side of view. Benedikt, because we talked so much about, okay, the differences of these two worlds and how can we start software, and especially you with your startup, moving so fast, and the customer may not. So it would be interesting to hear from you. So you were the winner of last year's Open Space Challenge for one customer. Maybe you can just, tell a bit the story. So how did it feel? How did the project go with the customers? What were some obstacles to overcome?
Yeah, so the kind of first obstacle was that we only got notice of the challenge 3 days before the deadline. So we worked all night for 3 days straight to create our pitch, create our first video to explain what is our idea for this customer. And it was also great because we could choose between 8 challenges, between 8 probable customers, and then we could choose which one we liked best, for which we had the best ideas, and start the development of the pitch. And we were accepted in the final round, which was here on this stage a year ago, and we then won, and it was just great because MTI is one of our most motivated customers. They are eager to start digitalizing their machines and creating a new business model, because it's really fun to sell software because there's no cost in manufacturing a software copy. So they try to build out to this new business model, and the project has been going really good. They help us, they explained their processes to us. We kind of played around with different ideas, different proof of concepts, what we can do in the real world, and we connected the machine, and it's currently running and happily sending data to MindSphere.
Super. And what does the solution look like? Just to better understand also for the audience. So what was the customer challenge, and what was your approach in your solution?
MTI makes manufacturers machines, mixing machines, which generate a lot of data, temperature, motor speeds, motor current, and all these data points need to be analyzed to properly tune this process. And at the moment, that was someone standing next to the machine with his laptop, and he was trying to figure something out by just looking at the data. And it was a lot of manual work to convert this data into an insight, and then also into a document that you could present the customer, where the customer knew, okay, this machine, if I buy it, helps me producing my cake, for example. And this is now completely automated using a MindSphere app. In this app, you can generate this report with just a click. So instead of a few hours of work, it's just 5 minutes. And you can also analyze the data and gain the insights without all of this manual work, and it's got a lot faster. And also, after the customer is at the test mixing process, he can take home this app to his supervisor and show it to him, and the feeling of the test mix process goes back to the customer, back to the stakeholders, and they can then more easily decide to buy the right machine, which is manufactured by MTI.
Wow, that's, I would say, super impressive to hear that what kind of insights can be gained, and also that such a big improvement time-wise has been done.
How long did it take to build the app?
About 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
So I think some of our customers have a process just to get to the point to start that takes maybe 1 year.
Yep.
And the solution is 1 month.
Yep.
So I think maybe to point out, I think the one who put the challenge here was the founder and owner of the company. So this is maybe one good thing, right? You have to need access to the people who really can make the decisions, and then software is quick applied, right? So maybe a question to you, Thomas, because now maybe we also heard a little bit about EDI, but you're like, that was my what I heard from you is very much into the details of the data analytics as well with your company. And how does it feel? What's your approach?
So yes, so our name, EDI, Engineering Data Intelligence, so the name is program, so we like to connect data in a semantic way, and we also have AI-based decision models to automate the machines or to support the decisions from the engineers. And one unique point, and this is also why we work, or we are really like to work together with Siemens, is that we also integrate the expert knowledge. So we not only have a data-driven approach, we also use the expert knowledge from the people who are standing since 30 years in front of a machine, so or from other people who really good understand the process. And this knowledge is really important that you also use this knowledge, and we have some patented technology for this to formalize it and also to connect it with our AI-based algorithm. And in this case, we have the possibility that we also can work with not so many data. So that's one of the points. So we hear a lot about big data, but so now with Siemens, maybe it gets a little bit better because the companies can store the data in an efficient way on the Siemens MindSphere. But for sure, we have a lot of customers from smaller one until, so also we work with automotive from OEMs. So they store important data in Excel tables. But also this data we can use if you integrate some expert knowledge to the data. So then you don't need these big data that you can train some really strong machine learning algorithm. And that's one of our solution is aimed to provide with not so many data, really transparent and robust decision models. And we have one use case, it's about calibration of grinding machines, and that was exactly what I talk about. So we formalized the expert knowledge because there are 2 really experts in this company. The company is 150 people big, and these 2 experts really good understand what they have to control, how they have to control the machine. But for sure, they are also get older, so the CEO of this company want to have and keep the knowledge in the company, and this is why we came in this project to formalize the expert knowledge, and then these guys have a strong PLM system, product lifecycle management system, where they store data from the machine. So in this case, we could use the expert knowledge and the stored data in the PLM system to make a model. And in this case, we don't need so much data because we have a really good database because the expert helps us to figure out which data are really relevant. And for special tools, we could reduce the adjusting time from the machine from 60 minutes to 5 minutes.
Wow.
So, and that's a big benefit, and that's about that's about also. Then you have a business case because also the CEO understands. So I save money on time, and also you get a constant quality. That's also what helps if you use such technologies with learning algorithm, that you also understand your processes better, and it's not only a subjective rating from some experts who control the machine. So it's more about you can use the data, and in this case, you can scale the experts.
So we understand that data generates insights, right? Frank, maybe a question to you, because I think you can maybe talk about bridging the gap as 20 years of experience with the automation of processes. Now I think you founded a company extra to now help the customers with the digitalization? How does it feel to like generate now insights for the machine that you already automated like 20 years?
That's great. Yes, yeah. I founded more than 20 years ago my first company, and we are specialized on automatic control systems for heavy machines, for chemical units, for handling systems, and so on. And yes, then we started together the journey with MindSphere, I believe, maybe 3 years ago, with version 2, version 2 of MindSphere. And this is now great to start a complete, in one kind, a complete new business, a complete just digital business. But our experience from the shop floor, from the machines, helping us at the moment very much to understand the processes and to go with the machine builder and classical machine builder with very good mechanical engineering and so on, typical Germany or typical German stuff, to go with them this digital experience, the digital change of the, not change complete of the products, but to create new digital services. So not just to sell the machine, get the money, finished. So they have now a complete new kind of customer relationship for the machine builder to his customer. And this is really great. I'm happy that I can spend the last year, this time. And as you said, yeah, it is now so strong, this business. We founded a spin-off, our IoT spin-off, seioTec, with a partner together with Kai. And this is now really great to make, on one hand, a complete new business, but also mix it with the experience from more than 20 years knowledge in the automation of industrial sites, machines, and so on.
And later, I think we talk about what means networking in an ecosystem, because I think you already get to know each other. But let me first point out to Alex, because that was very interesting for me. Hackerbay, one of the latest partners of MindSphere now. And you personally, I heard that you are said that you're one of the best European hackers yourself. By the way, having the company, so how does it feel for Hackerbay to be now into this industrial place? And what about network effects?
Right, yeah, network effects. Well, let me start with getting into the whole manufacturing industry. We actually started a few years back, and I think it was one of the first projects I worked with Hackerbay with. Back then, I was part of the hacker network that our management and I help orchestrate. We have a network of 250 hackers. And when we first started working with manufacturing companies, it was really interesting because none of us had really learned about what's going on there. We worked with telecom companies and all kinds of other industries, like retail and so on, but we never really did anything with manufacturing. It's a very interesting and diverse industry in how they operate, because some companies are extremely modern and always on the cutting edge, while others are more set on, everything works. It could be better, but it works. Let's keep everything the way it is. So it's very interesting to see how companies have progressed in the last few years.
But aren't you perceived as the bad guy? The one who's doing the crime thing with hacking and stuff. I think the name is program, right? So we always, Annika and me, we always thought, okay, these hacker guys are now coming. And it's a little bit like, but for us, it's perfect to have you here, because maybe then people have tried to understand that hacking is, I don't know, maybe not a crime, right? Or what do you think about it?
Well, okay, so there's different kinds of hackers. To everyone. We call ourselves the rockstar hackers, right? A really good example for this is we were a few years ago approached by a Saudi Arabian entity, and they were asking us if we could build a drone defense system. So a system that would, shoot down drones, something like that. And we told them, no, sorry, we're not going to build that. We're not that kind of hackers. We help build cool things very fast, very good, but we don't do bad things. So when we call ourselves hackers, we do not consider the bad kind of hacker that you think of from movies, television, etc. we think of us as people who can build things, applications, devices very well in a very short amount of time. Rockstar developers.
Rockstar developers.
I
Amazing.
would also be interested in how come that I mean, you already told us there that you went to, let's say, more the industrial area and you decided to go there and you experienced them completely differently. So there were some who were moving forward and others were more like I would say the John Waynes. We always did it like that. Let's keep it like that. So why did you choose to actually move into maybe the more B2B part? Isn't it more interesting to, like from marketing perspective, it's always like, oh, B2C, you can do so much fancy stuff. So why did you choose to go more into the B2B area?
Well, B2C is, in a way, more fun, but also not. So with B2C, there's a lot of complexity, as in you have so many single users that want things, and in the end, it always comes down to the same kind of thing. If a lot of users like your app, it's going to be successful. Otherwise, with manufacturing, we really saw an opening, and with B2B manufacturing, we really saw an opening in an industry that wants to grow and that wants to digitalize everything that they're doing. Right? So we saw what's going on. We looked into how these companies work and what they're doing, and we thought it was super interesting. And we want to help them. We want to get in there. And I think that was what drove us to actually invest more time into it and come up with things like our Atlantis N1 platform to improve efficiency and reduce complexity in how these companies operate and build things in Germany and worldwide.
So you're applying your knowledge that you gained out of this like quick, fast-moving B2C market now to the industry world. So that helps a lot.
Yes,
because we know as Siemens that cybersecurity is one of the points that more or less customers are waiting for the point where this topic is not relevant anymore. We do everything that cybersecurity is not happening. We have our own cybersecurity centers that work together with our technology partners to make the infrastructure safe, but to make the software layer safe. Everything is there. And now I feel that customers start to bridge the gap, to take the challenge and to do the next step. We just announced that Volkswagen and Siemens and other players will really do something big, connect plants in a huge scale. So maybe a question to you both, because you already built a little network based on this now. And what do you think about working together in such an ecosystem? So Siemens as a hardware player, having big customers, connecting, and now you together in this new ecosystem. What's your matter? How do you work together?
So I think one point how it could work, it's about Siemens MindSphere, because our technologies, we can run our technologies on the same platform, and so we have the possibility to work together. I think that's the most important point. So, and also we have technologies to analyze the data in an efficient way, and Frank has a lot of experience also to get the data from the machines to understand how the machines have to be controlled. And that's also what I mentioned before. It's really helpful for us, because only to analyze the data, we can make a really nice models. But if the models not can run on a control system, then it doesn't help. So
the point is, even if I would like to do, because I'm interested in artificial intelligence, you cannot do everything by your own, especially not in this huge. We talk about IoT ecosystems, IoT platforms, and I believe you can get the strongest, the best solution for the customer if you do a cooperation with the really experts in the special field. And Thomas, we met us. I'm really interested in artificial intelligence, things like this, but I know we cannot do by our own complete. So, and as Thomas said, we are more specialized on the connectivity, and of course we also develop apps, but then we can in the ecosystem, because the platform makes it possible, the thinking of the MindSphere IoT ecosystem makes it from the technical point of view possible that we work together, and also your Siemens new forms of of meetups, MindSphere meetups, developer days. So maybe in the traditional old automation and drives, maybe we never met us. So with this new events you now you make from Siemens, yes, we met us on the SBS IPC drives in Nuremberg, but then on the MindSphere meetup, we go at the moment together with pitches on different.
So now you have a little alliance already, and you formed a little network.
Yeah.
Because on Wednesday, Annika, we had a Coca-Cola here, and we also built a little app with Coca-Cola to help them solve a problem. And Damo said here, right on stage, this is open source from our point of view. We don't want to develop something that we use because they think that the time is now for being more quick, applying things that are not so crucial for the customer, for the production, and needs to be spread out and co-create with other customers. So the ecosystem is not over there, it's getting even bigger. If our customers now start to share knowledge and work together in clusters. And we also work together with customers in, for example, Stuttgart, because you are from there, in the Arena 2036, where we try to find the next stage of production. And there we already have a network of 20 machine builders and developers to work together. And yeah, but one question, because I want to take Benedikt also in the game. You are also a little rock star, because you as a startup have now gained more customers out of the Siemens MindSphere Corporation, right? How does it feel to scale in such a manner with MindSphere?
Yeah, it feels really great, especially because there are such great customers. It's very cliche to say that, but it's true because most of our customers are eager to implement MindSphere solutions and custom apps and digitalize their machines, which is not the mindset you usually find in the manufacturing industry. So that's great fun.
I must say I'm really proud to now see, because I didn't even know about the connection, and I'm always surprised because it's not only like a marketing statement to be an open ecosystem. I'm really happy to see that after all these months it really works out. So there's really these connections. I was extremely happy to hear that Codestryke gained just a new customer, and they started first with the Open Space Challenge, and now having the first successful customer project implemented, now a new customer heard about them. So I think it's really great to now come together here, sit together, and see it's not only about having the APIs and the technical requirements, but also really bringing the people together. I don't know if this also happens within the factory or how you both experience that.
Alex, that's a good point, because we both work there in the factory, Berlin, which is a creation space, 12,000 square meters, only creatives, and sometimes I feel like I try to bridge the gap. We have some customers there as well already, work together with some other big corporates. But this is a little bit of a play field, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And there we bring together people. So this is where we get to know each other as well.
Right, yeah, it's amazing how we can connect with all these companies that are there. And especially in the beginning, when we were still doing more B2C things, it really helped us. Our first customers were Silicon Valley companies like Google, Twitter. And that was our first project. And even now, we find a lot of companies there, like Siemens, that we can connect with and we can work with. And
Alex, one important question, because I know afterwards we are running out of time, and then we don't ask this question, because you just made a strong pivot. I read it in the newspaper just 1 week ago. You said, hey, come on, this is so amazing here in Germany. We move all our employees and hackers away from Silicon Valley. What a message, to Berlin.
Right.
So maybe you talk about a little bit, why did you do this, and what does it mean for Germany, and why did you do it? So this is really something I was like, hello.
Yeah, it's really interesting. When we heard about the decision internally, it absolutely made sense to me. For those who don't know, we had offices in Silicon Valley, in Singapore, and in Berlin. And we decided that since we want to mainly focus on manufacturing and German manufacturing, we need to focus because these clients deserve our full attention and our full potential. So we pulled everyone back from Silicon Valley, from Singapore. Everyone came back to Berlin. And now we're pooling our resources to be able to deliver the best results to German manufacturing clients.
So it's not only because of Berghain and having a big party in Berlin all the time. It's really about knowledge sharing and work together is important because everybody is like distributing people and we need people all over the world. So it's about a bit, combining competences in one place, right?
You know, distributing competences is really important and it works well. But right now, since we have this kind of hackathon feeling when we build something cool new, it helps when everyone is in the same place. Of course, sometimes we do home office or someone's somewhere else, and then we have amazing tools to still be able to work as a team. But when you have everyone pooled together and everyone can work in a team directly, we found that that works the best. And over time, we think this is the best way to deliver the most amazing results, and we've already proven that with our Atlanta Sen 1 alpha and tests that we were running there.
So maybe also, so everybody thinks, so if you are a startup, so you can work from everywhere, but that's also one of our experience, to have the team together, not every day, but more than one time in the week. It's really a big benefit there, because you have these tools there, you can communicate with Skype, and there are many other tools available, but then you always have these clear questions, and if you sit together, and especially for the hackers there, sometimes it goes really fast. They make some short notes and then everything runs, and otherwise you have to make a Skype meeting and then the other people is not available. So to bring the team together, it's also one of our experience that it's really helpful, and that's sometimes, so the dream of startup, you can work from everywhere. It doesn't work every time.
That's also an interesting point for me, because scaling such a startup means you need the people, right? So do you have the easy way to find new employees and just to find the best data scientists? How does this feel? Because I heard that the young people with the knowledge are also a little bit shifting, like I want to work there for one day and there for next day, and just here a little bit and there a little bit. What's the challenge there? Like, how do you find the best people for your business?
We have our hacker network. We have a network of over 250 of the world's best hackers. I'm not just saying that as a marketing term. Really, I honestly believe the people that we have in this network are some of the best and most passionate developers I have ever worked with. It was also the path that I had into Hackerbay, as I said before. And we really curate them from all kinds of sources. We know some of them from past projects where they worked for a corporate and decided to start their own business. We met them at hackathons and meetups, like Siemens is starting now. And we really look at their work. We work with them. And when we find out that, or when we decide that they are as good as we need them to be, then we add them to our network. And of course, hope, like I, for example, did, that eventually we'll have them as part of Hackerbay to build great stuff. That's look everywhere to find as many great hackers as you can. Amazing.
Frank, how does it feel for you? Like as the old guy, do you have the possibility to find the right people in your new team, in your seioTec team? What's the problem there? How is the challenge?
I mean, we have basically a problem, to find really the right guys, even if I'm looking for automation or electrical engineers in my old business. With MindSphere might be a little bit easier, or it is, because it's a complete new stuff, and if we try many things on the universities, and so we often have a relationship with our future engineer or future software developer. At this time, he's on the university. This is quite a good way, I think. So you can integrate them in the company during his study, and then mostly in the past it was the case that we could keep them really, and we could give them
so it's also a matter of team fit, of how people fit together to work together, right?
What I would like to say one in addition. But then we cannot get the own employees as fast as we need at the moment, and so it's again the network. Even with Codestryke, so we met us, and maybe in some cases we might competitors, but we said, oh, okay, why don't share developers in maybe in a huge project, so we cannot arrange by our own and Codestryke too. So even there, this is a kind of I think it's a little bit easier in the with hackers and software developers than in our classical business. I also have there a network, but here it's
Benedikt,
easier.
But just because you pointed out Benedikt, I think all of your team, right?
Yeah.
You're a strong team, and I think maybe you talk a little about how you as a little startup work together and what are the competences there.
So we have at the moment a core team of 5 people, and we have experts in different kinds of areas. So some people that are experts in production and automation, and others that are user experience focused or classical web developers. And I think this combination of all of these skills creates great apps and great products. And it's also nice to share resources with other companies in the space, for example with seioTec, because then we have the moment to accept projects or get share the resources for our projects.
So maybe our team is really international. So we get a lot of people from abroad, and we work a little bit in the same way. We make these guys make some work experience or master thesis, and in the most cases we stay with the people. So maybe they have to go back to study, but then they work maybe from abroad for us. And our team, we are 11 person in 8 different nations. That makes also sometimes really interested in our office, so to talk about the different culture things, and makes us also open mind to understand the different culture and understanding. And maybe today we talk a lot about business to business and C2C or business to C. I think in the future, we not have this difference, so that we develop now applications, and we should try to have applications with less functions, so that it's really easy to use these applications. And also, if you think about your customers, so they have to change really fast their system. So that's also if you have a lot of different customers, so that I think this kind of business gets more same and same. And also, one of our approach since we founded our company is to provide customized app stores with a look and feel from our customers, so they can make the decision what is the corporate design of our app. And in this case, for us, it's no problem to work together with Siemens MindSphere, because if we have the Siemens MindSphere surface and we only use our algorithm behind, it's totally fine for us. So we'll find the license model, and then it works.
So what I think is really important or interesting to see now that so many different, so to say, partners are sitting here on stage, and somehow the connection is there, and the connection establishes. And I really like your point, Thomas, that you mentioned before. So this coming together in one place and really having this conversation, understanding the other, I think, so empathy is a really important point here, to really not just work remotely and do everything online, even maybe if someone from the audience would maybe expect that to be the case in a completely digital world. It's interesting to see that still it's so important that people come together in one place, and that's why I also love hackathons and meetups so much, because it's kind of like bringing everybody, every expert together for 2 days, 3 days, whatever, and there's so much outcome afterwards. I really, really like that. And yeah, what I think would be interesting to hear, maybe also Benedikt from you and Alec from you, is so what does it feel like, or what does your daily work look like? Because we heard so everybody is so different, and somehow we're all coming together and kind of like shift into the same mood of collaboration. So maybe it would be also interesting for the audience to really get a bit of a insight in what does it really feel like to be a real developer. So what are you doing on a daily basis? So how does your day start? Is it really the cliche with you get up at 11 a.m. in the morning and you work until night, or how does it feel?
No, I wish I could sleep until 11 every day. No, I get up at 8, which is already pretty late, but then considering I work pretty long too, my day really starts with, depending on the weekday, either we have a little meeting to discuss what's going on in the company and what's going on with the clients. But if it's a regular day where I'm working on a project, I'll get up, I'll turn on my computer, and we have our tools that we communicate and plan software with, and then we start building awesome software.
Super. Benedikt, is it the same for you or completely different?
No, it's a bit different. I try to get up at 6 most days, but that's not always happening. And then I go to the office, and we have a little daily Scrum stand-up meeting where we discuss the ongoing projects and check project plans and what's going on today. And then I try to do emails early in the day, and then I start coding away until the daily tasks are done.
So it doesn't seem to be that different from...
But he pointed out one thing, I think, that makes a little difference. You said daily Scrum, and this is something where, because the methodology, the kind of how people work together is always agile and very quick. So what does this mean from the project side? Because you have the customer on the other side who expects to write something down, and this is what you please do, developer, and how is it completely different if you're talking about agile scrums and agile methodologies? So maybe just point out what's important if you work together with a customer on a software development project.
I think agile there is the way to go, and it's not always easy to start this model with the classical manufacturing companies. So the best thing to do is that you keep the customer up to date from day one. So you send them updates, give them confidence that the project is going well, and then they start to like the agile model.
So what do you need from the customer to work in such a way?
Yeah, so I will say sometimes these short development steps you only have internally in your company, and you make, so we have it's an old economy, so nobody or the companies will understand that you every day want to change your opinion on some things, but you make a plan and you figure out how you can challenge, and this is also what I mentioned, there are different algorithms available, but the customer not have to be in touch which kind of algorithm you choose for what kind of data and how you analyze the data and how you prepare the data in a way that you can work with. This we make also in these short meetings, and that is what I mentioned. So if you sit together, you get ideas how you can figure out it really fast, and then you can communicate with your customer, maybe also on a higher level. You have these specifications, and if you get the feeling, oh, sometimes it could be hard to reach this specification for sure, then you also have to discuss with your customer. But normally you can stay, and then you can have the traditional, I will say, work plan with the customer, and internally you have these smaller steps and where you can work like a startup. Yeah. So that's our way how we work normally.
Maybe to shift the discussion a little bit, because I have one point that really interested me. We're talking about working together, and up here we have all our product management there, right? Maybe you also have some things to discuss with us, like what should be done within MindSphere, what should be the next steps. So do you have some experience on that? So is MindSphere already ready? Is the platform great for developers, or do you feel like let's push this somewhere where it really matters? So do you have something that you would give us as a hint? Where should we develop it? Because there's such a bench of what could be done on a platform development side.
Claus, you know, we are at once we are MindSphere partner, we are gold partner since a couple of times. We are member of the MindSphere World, and we had, I'm here on the fair since Monday. We had quite a lot of discussions, even with the management level. But I think my opinion at the moment, if you ask me directly, as developer, it's quite easy with developer plan to do the development. my opinion and our experience at the moment is the biggest challenge is then to go with the application in the productive side, so to go in the productive in the MindSphere store and so on. There might be some improvement necessary, but I know you're working. Siemens is working on it. Yeah, as I said, from the developer point of view, it's quite easy to get the first step in and work with the platform, deploy your first application inside your developer world, developer plan. Yeah. Then the next steps to make really the business with this, to sell the application, to.
Well, this is what we talked before. You need to discuss with the customer what is the business plan behind it, and then to scale the app is the next step, right? Where we are now waiting for.
No, even to sell the application within the MindSphere store and so on. These steps take at the moment quite a long time.
Okay.
If you finished your application, to bring the application in the store, for example. This was one of also from many members. One big discussion in MindSphere world, and we give this information, for example, one of the most important information we give to the management level.
Okay.
Yeah, the interesting part is you need applications that are completely safe, tested and running, and not destroying something. So it's not really a playful thing. We have to really be careful with this. So all these mechanisms that work there needs to be industrially proven. That's what we promise to our customers. And then sometimes maybe the time that we spend there is good time to be spent to really make the application proven and tested, and quality mechanisms have to run there. So this is maybe one part, but what's maybe also your point that you want to point out?
Honestly, something that I really want to re-emphasize again is the outreach that you're doing. I just learned about it today, all the meetups and hackathons that you guys are starting to do. Honestly, I love that. Because when you're a student fresh out of university, you have no clue where to go. There's all these companies that do software. I mean, like, what company doesn't do something with software today? But you have no idea where to go. So when I was still in university, I looked around and I saw hackathons, and my first one was with Deutsche Bahn, and I had never known how much IT and what kind of interesting stuff was going on there. And I think this is an amazing way to get more young developers in there and get them on the path to, building, digitalization in industry, manufacturing in Germany. That's why I love hackathons, and that's why hackathons is such a big culture at Hackerbay.
Amazing.
Maybe
we try to put the hackathons into a roadmap, try to make it purpose-driven. That's what we discussed yesterday. So the hackathon is an event, but we try to make it more find the challenge for the customer, and then afterwards run further with the hackathon results. That's maybe a little challenge.
That's really
how
good.
to bring this to life. So that's what we are doing with Siemens, with our customers. Yeah.
That's maybe also one thing. I think the Siemens MindSphere and the ecosystem from our side, so the people who are developed on the Siemens MindSphere, there's a really good ecosystem, and what we need, and that is always where we are searching for, it's the use cases. So we need also the traditional customer of Siemens in this Siemens MindSphere that we can provide for them some solutions. So my idea is that we have a list of problems from this customer, and then there are the ecosystem of partners who can provide the right applications, and that's sometimes what I find a lot of people who work on Siemens MindSphere, but they are all waiting for data from the real use cases.
Now the data's run-up starts. Annika, I see a little red button down there.
That's fine. We still got 10 minutes spare.
Oh, amazing.
So that's really cool. So what I would be interested in, because we heard so much about your experiences, the world you're coming from. So is there something that you want to address to the audience? I mean, there's so many industrial experts here. So what is your thing? What are your wishes? So for your next project with customers from the industry, so what is what you would love to see or love to hear, or what is what you really would need, what would make your life easier? And so on the one side, so your wishes for the project, and maybe on the other side also just a bit of an, let's say, the few words about what were your experiences, what were maybe the biggest obstacles to overcome, to also share this lessons learned, so to say, with the audience.
something really interesting that we learned along the way is the reluctance that manufacturers have in getting their data out of their compound. So we were working with a bunch of companies, and they had a lot of machine data, a lot of data about their company and how everything was working, but they did not want it to leave the compound. And we asked them, okay, how can we get our software to work with your data if you don't want it to leave? So something we really try to push now is to have them accept the cloud as something that is not evil, but something that is really useful, helpful, and absolutely safe. It just needs to be built in the right way, and we absolutely have the competence to build something in a way that makes it safe in the cloud. So something we learned and something that we hope from everyone in manufacturing is that we need to accept the cloud, because if we work with the cloud, something that we actually did is one of our first algorithms that we built to analyze a very large data set, the first runtime was 1 week. Then we got it down to a few days, and now we have it down to seconds, thanks to the cloud and infinite scaling up there with the same data set. On-premise, yeah, absolutely. On-premise this costs way too much and is impossible to work with.
So maybe also from my side, so it's also one of our slogan, accelerate your digitalization. Yeah, so we have a lot of the feelings of some customer, yeah, we have to wait, we have to make the decision for the right technology. And I think that's one of the most important things from the cloud technology. You not have to wait, so everything is integratable. So if you not make the decision yet to start with Siemens MindSphere, you can start with a smaller cloud provider or vice versa, so that's possible. And also a lot of people are thinking about cloud. It's about the storage space or where you store the data. It's more about the technology, that it's really integratable. So you not have to wait. You can use your data today and make your first benefit out of it. And if you make 1 year later a decision that you want to go with a big cloud supplier and you will push your data in the cloud, then it's also possible. You don't have to build everything new. I think that's also really important.
We also announced here on the fair the industrial edge is now there, and we're starting with all this technology. So Siemens is also playing a big role in that. And this makes maybe something more easier, because then you start with the customer on site. You have the data there in the industrial edge. And Frank, this is something where maybe you also come to the game, because this is a home turf of automation. And then you have data on site, and then you just work with the cloud if you need to work with the cloud, right?
I mean, we was really waiting for the edge, especially Thomas and me, because you cannot push all the data. It makes in many cases no sense to push all the data. You have a problem of latency. You have, and then we have algorithm. If you have an algorithm, an artificial intelligence algorithm, a model for a fast machine, it runs in milliseconds, or has to be run in milliseconds, and this makes no sense to have in the cloud. What makes sense, and therefore we were waiting for the edge to make your training set in the cloud, maybe with a set of data, and then design your algorithm, and then download the algorithm on an edge device. Because this machine has to run, even if the internet is maybe 2 minutes, no internet connection there. This has to be run. And secondly, of course, you can start maybe with a customer that you say, okay, we download an algorithm there, and this can work on site, yeah. But so for the first one, this is more important.
This is something that we had yesterday here on stage with our customer Schmalz, and you can also meet Schmalz up there in the MindSphere Lounge, and they applied one of the first industrial edge use cases, exactly what you just mentioned. Having that stuff down there on site, applying the algorithms, and then pushing it up to the cloud and managing the algorithm from the cloud side. So it's really amazing what Schmalz did yesterday. And yeah, so this is a new time, right? Now it starts.
Yeah, exactly. And also Frank did a lot of retrofit. I really like this word there. So there are many really old machines in the field, so 20, 30 years old. And you can make these machines smarter, but maybe you not have a connection to some WLAN system or cloud system. But then you can use the algorithm which you develop in the cloud. You can use in a really manual way directly on the machine. Yeah. So that's also for a lot of customer. It's really convinced to do it in this way. So they not want to put the machines to the cloud. They only want to have it smart. Yeah. And if you use this edge approach, then it makes really easy. And also we work a lot together with customer who sells the machines, and they have normally also used the machines in a lab to find the right procedure for their customer. And they not want to give all the knowledge or store all the knowledge in the cloud and get access from all the customers. So they are really happy if you have just the control system, the control model on the edge, so they can also have a separate.
Thomas, don't want to interrupt you so much, but that's where we work on at MindSphere as well, yeah, to give the customer the chance to decide who gets the data, to empower a data ecosystem also, making business models able. But Annika, I see some signs from the side, so you have to give us a sign how long we can talk, because I think if we continue, we go deeper now into some of the data analytics parts. So
okay,
we can go on.
Okay, so we had such a good flow.
Yeah, I know.
Which is super. So then, just a big thank you to each and every one of you. I can just say, I don't know what the audience thinks, but I guess they're excited as we are.
And we go on with the discussion up there.
Exactly. Let's just
Lounge.
press the stop button here on stage, and let's just bring this discussion up to the MindSphere Lounge. So whoever wants to follow us on the MindSphere Lounge, you're highly welcome. And now I just have to say a big thank you to this amazing round on the stage here. Big thanks to Claus. And let's bring Chris on stage.
Thank you.
Siemens, ingenuity for life.